What's up, guys? This is Saber from the Neighborhod coming back at you with a CWL recap video. We are currently in the process of slaughtering Champs 2 League on our way to Champs 1 as we have been for the last couple of months. And today I'd like to recap for you the first couple of wars. We're so far 2-0, about to be 3-0, but I'd like to show you all the triples from the first two wars in this video just to give you guys an idea of what it takes to perform at this level. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with number 1 with 2 chains. And I may do a separate video on this attack later on how to recover an attack that goes to hell, because that's exactly what happened here, and 2 chains did a great job of recovering. So he's going to start with sending in the blimp and his queen at the top. His goal here was to battle blimp the Inferno and Scattershot area, but he sends in his blimp at the improper angle. It was meant to come in near 1 o'clock, and instead he sends it in around 12, 11:30, something like that. And it doesn't come in approximately where it needs to, and so he doesn't really get any value for the blimp. He maybe gets the Inferno Tower. I can't quite recall. But because of that, there's a lot of issues where his queen almost dies, and somehow she miraculously stays up here. Watch how low her health gets in a second here. She's down to literally like a hair of health, dealing with all this CC. There's a scatter shot there. All it would have taken was a single bit of splash damage to get her down, but she manages to stay up, which is really impressive. Now, because of that, Chains modifies his plan here, and he sends in the wall breakers so that his queen will turn and get the town hall. He knows that she will turn and get the town hall because it ends up being the next closest building after she clears out a couple of things in here with the enemy queen, the sweeper, and the clan castle. So because of that, she won't beat through these walls. She'll turn back around and head towards the town hall, which is what happens. And then once this is going on, he's going to start setting his funnel on the other end with his barbarian king, which will take out the royal champ. And now he has a pretty clear path for his hybrid attack strategy right down the core of the base. Now, at this point, it's not clear if he's going to triple, but he's done a great job of recovering, and so that's as much as you can ask for. I'm going to speed it up here because once the hybrid enters, it's basically rage things through and make sure that they all survive. So he does enter with the hybrid. Early Warden ability to survive that scatter shot and that Inferno Tower there. Rages through that, and he's trying to get to that Eagle Artillery as quickly as possible to avoid taking a beating from it. Royal Champ is going to save her ability towards the end. That's typically the MO here, but as she does start to drop health a little bit, she may have to use it earlier than anticipated. But as you can see, things are moving through the base pretty smoothly. With the Royal Champ ability, he gets through the last bunker, and it's pretty clear at this point that he's actually wrecked the base, even though his attack started out so poorly. So this is a great way to adapt under fire, and like I said, I might do a further video on breaking down just this attack strategy. On to our next raid here. We're going to look at number 3. This is Big Papa coming in against Strong. And Big Papa, again, is going to use the Miner Hog Hybrid. This is a really popular attack strategy right now. It's very strong. I just did a video on it recently, and in fact, I'll link it in the description here. But Papa's going to start with the blimp. He blimps the Town Hall, and then he's going to Queen Walk an Edge, and then he's going to send in the Miners and the Hogs in between, basically. That's the MO with this plan. You create a funnel using the blimp and the King and the Queen, and you get the Town Hall with the blimp, and then the Miners come in the middle. So he's starting with the queen there. You might start to see how this funnel might be crafted. It's possible that he does it a different way, but you're starting to see how there's kind of a cutoff around the 6 o'clock end, and now he's cutting off the 9 o'clock end, so it's possible he might send in the Miners between 6 and 9, but it's not quite clear, so let's give it a little bit more time. I'm going to speed it up just a tad because we do have a lot to cover in this video, and I don't want this be like a 45-minute endurance video. That's not my goal for today. So he's going to start with the king and a archer down there on the edge, so it's pretty clear now where he's trying to enter his funnel. His queen's going to walk the edge, and he's probably going to send in his miners near that Inferno Tower, and so he does. And you can predict that just based on how the funnel was set up. So he uses the Warden ability to get through first couple of Eagle shots and the scatter shot there, and it's rage and heal your way through the base. He has a back end freeze for that multi and scatter shot segment, and he absolutely smashes this base. I mean, this is pretty much overkill at this point. He still has all the miners left, still has the Royal Champ standing, bunch of hogs. The king, the queen did go down, but he still has cleanup as well. And there's just not enough for this base to do anything about it. So although they did eventually break their way out, he has more than enough firepower to just basically snipe everything on the edge. Oh wait, the queen is still up there as well, so yeah, even more overkill. But that's going to be 3 for Papa, and once again, we will look into our next attack strategy for today. Next boy with a triple today is myself, Saber. And this was a very nice plan by El DeVito. This was actually one of the last attacks of the war. So we're going to start by breaking the funnel, a couple of loons just in there to take out the mortars. If you can exchange 5 space for a defense, it's a good exchange generally. We're funneling with the king and the baby dragon along the edge. And our goal here is going to be to send in the queen, and she's going to charge into this air sweepers area over there. That's where we're going to put our jump spell. So we have to funnel her with a couple of wizards up top, and then once all goes well, we'll pop the siege barracks at that 9 o'clock side. It'll walk the edge. The queen will run in, and then we'll mine her sort of down the center. That's basically the plan. So the CC comes out, the queen walks exactly where we wanted her to. The rage spell is used to get through the CC, even though there's a lot of minions that'll go down to the poison. Just want to speed things up. There's a scatter shot there beating down on her. As soon as we drop the siege barracks, we're going to start the hogs because we got worried about that Inferno Tower targeting on my healers. So she does get through the scatter shot. She does get through this wizard tower, and then she's going to jump into the center of the base, get the town hall, that Inferno Tower, whole bunch of value. I send in a coconut loon just to basically check for seeking air mines, but at this point, as that Inferno Tower locks onto the healers, it becomes clear that I have to deploy now. The Coco does pull a Sam, and the queen is now out of range, and so we're going to send in our miners. The funnel's been clearly made. They're going to run right down this center segment. We got the P.E.K.K.A. and the wizards clearing the edge, and the queen's working through the center, so she's actually going to get a ton of great value in there. Her ability still hasn't been used, and the queen charge absolutely hollowed at the center of this base, and now the hybrid's going to basically walk the edge. You can see that nice little L shape going. So as it goes, I'm just going to speed it up just a tad here. We're just moving through the base, using the queen ability as necessary, freezing that Inferno Tower, and the miners and the hogs are just going to do the entire edge of this base and heal them up as necessary. But you can tell now, all the big defenses are basically gone. There's still a ton of troops left. I have the Royal Champion ability, a heal spell, and there's just too many forces left for them to deal with. So this was a really overkill 3-star again. That hybrid strategy is really strong, especially if you do a queen charge with it rather than a queen walk. So again, another example of some great attacking from the HOD, and I hope you guys can learn a thing or two from these. Alrighty, so on to our next one. We have the next attack being El DeVito versus number 5. And David planned my attack as well. David plans a lot of the attacks, helps everyone plan out. He's one of our better attackers. He's going to start with the bomb here, the Yeti bomb that being, and he was trying to get both Inferno Towers and the Eagle, but I believe he only ends up getting one, which was a sore point for him when we talked about it afterwards, but he still gets a ton of value for that bomb there, getting an Inferno Tower and the Eagle artillery, and he draws the CC as well. He's going to start with the queen, walking the edge, lure the CC over, and once again, if you've seen one, you kind of seen them all. You bomb something, you build a funnel, and then you hybrid down the middle. So I'm going to speed it up just a tad. Like I said, there's a lot of content to get through, and I want to make sure we cover everyone. So the only issue there is he almost missed the witch on the poison, but it does eventually walk in, so that was not a big deal. Queen's going to continue to walk the edge. You're going to probably see the king around 12 if memory serves correctly. It's either 12 or it's 6, I can't quite recall, to build the funnel, and then miners will run down the center of the base, basically. David walks the queen into the alley. There is the king around that 12 o'clock side, as we mentioned. And the miners, Royal Champion, and Warden enter the center of the base, and they're basically going to hollow things out and move in towards the town hall. Here come the hogs and reinforcements to deal with some of those defenses, and they continue to walk around the edge, heal spell to keep them up. There's the Warden ability. We're going to deal with the town hall here, slightly early on the Warden perhaps, because he does take a little bit of a beating from that Giga Tesla, but the hogs were just close enough out of range, far enough out of range that they do survive. This is a nice touch here on the back end. I also like the baby dragon and a couple of loons to take down that multi-target Inferno, because it could have been an issue. He was starting to run a little bit low on troops, and because of that baby dragon's also able to take down the bomb tower, saves him on time, and that Royal Champion ability at the end knocks out the building at the top 12 o'clock side there. So our next attack is going to be with French. French is back for CWL, and always, we do love to have French. He's a great attacker, great dude. So he's going to start with the funnel with the Electro Dragon and a Loon on one side and a P.E.K.K.A. on the other, so rather expensive funnel-wise. But for a Yeti Smash, it is very important that the funnel be done properly. He's using the King now that the E-Drag has kind of broken the ring, and he's making sure that those troops have a clear path into where they're going. The P.E.K.K.A. is running a little bit low on health, but now the jump spell is down, and now once he sends in his Yetis and they knock out these last couple anchor buildings, there's nowhere to go but into that jump. So that's the ideal thing here, and it does work out just as he planned. King takes a little bit of a beating, unfortunately, so he has to pop his ability early, and he does go down very quickly. But the jump spell is going to carry the troops in, and again, going to speed up because, like I said, a lot of things to cover. So he's going to rage through and uses the Warden ability there. saves his healers from a couple of Seeking Air Mines, and he's just basically going to rage and heal these Yetis through the core. Yetis with raged healers are a force to be reckoned with. That one heal spell there was a little bit strange on the Queen. I think he meant it for the Hogs, but it kind of missed. But anyway, it didn't really matter because the World Champion with those Hogs basically manages to clear the entire edge. And though it did kind of come down to the wire a little bit here, the World Champion's going to clear out the last couple of the defenses. There's a couple Yetis standing, the Queen's still standing, the Warden's still standing, and he's got Wizards on the edges for cleanup. So this is going to be GG for this one. Going to speed it up till 4 times just so we get through all the cleanup in a timely fashion. And then we will see our next attack. On to our next triple, and this is going to be our second to last triple. We have Sting on number 9. Sting, this was a really well-planned attack. He's using the mass minor attack strategy, and like I said, we are planning to have an attacking guide out on the mass minor strategy because it is pretty powerful, though not as powerful as the hybrid itself. And if you're interested in the hybrid, please check out that video that I linked in the description. It is my version of how to use the blimp hybrid attack strategy. So we're starting with the Queen charge at that 3 o'clock side. The Queen is basically dealing with the scatter shot and the Royal Champion. She could use a rage spell here, otherwise he's going to have to pop the ability. There is the rage spell to keep her up at full health. A lot of people are putting these exposed scatter shots, and I really don't understand the trend because they're very easy to Queen charge or sometimes even swap a king for them, and they're a really powerful defense, so I'm not sure why folks are doing that, but I would recommend don't do that because folks like us will take advantage of it. He's using the World Champion to try and take down this Inferno Tower. She deals with a little bit of trouble from the Archer Queen herself, uses her ability, though, to get rid of the Inferno Tower, and that further builds the funnel. So as you can see, there's a good funnel being built now, and those miners are going to charge in right towards the Town Hall, I would imagine. Siege Barracks is going to help the King build the edge funnel on the other side, but look how wide this funnel is. This is really impressive. He's going to need another rage on the Queen, otherwise he's going to lose her, but I believe he decides to let her die. No, he had the ability left. I didn't realize he still had the ability. So he waited really long on the funnel, though, which is a good thing, right? Showing you how important funnels are. I will have another video coming out in the next couple of days just on funneling, and it may feature this attack strategy because the funnel here was first layer, second layer, third layer, just perfect. And so the Warden and the miners are going to come down in the middle. You don't necessarily need the Warden ability on the Town Hall with miners, but some people choose to use it as Sting did there, and that is because sometimes they do get stuck with that freeze. The Queen, unfortunately, does go down, but that means the healers swap onto the miners, and they still have 6 spells, excuse me. No, 5 spells. I was right the first time. 2 heals, a rage, and 2 freeze to move through the base, and there's too many miners. There's like 30 miners there, and he has a whole bunch of cleanup troops as well, so we're going to speed things up a tad here. And watch as these miners absolutely eviscerate what remains of this base. And he does so in a really nice way. So, again, great a hit by Sting. Nice to see a little bit of diversity of attacks. We saw a lot of hybrid, so now we're using the miners here. And we'll check out our final attack here. It's going to be Shady Titan versus their 15. And that'll put the nail in the coffin for Arum Draco. So here's Shady going in now. Shady had the hybrid again because, hint, hint, it's the hottest strategy around right now, and it's not terribly difficult to execute. If you have guys that can do some high-level funneling, as we do, you can pull it off routinely. So first thing that happens, Battle Blimp goes down, Battle Blimp takes out the Town Hall, the Yetis and Valkyrie clear out a little bit more, then you Queen Walk another edge to build a funnel, use the King also, and then you're going to basically create a big funnel for the hybrid to head straight down the gut into the center of the base. And you can see here that he's trying to set up the hybrid to move into this Inferno Tower is what it looks like. But one of the things that's nice about the hybrid is you do have the ability to adjust the angle if the funnel doesn't go as planned. In this case, it does. In come those troops. He's probably going to have to Warden ability to get through these 2 scatter shots, and so he does. The Poison spell goes down to deal with the CC, and again, we're just raging and healing our way through the center of this base here. He rages to get through those back-end Infernos. The miners are going to help clean things up now. The Royal Champion is going to end up walking in and taking out the Inferno Tower here. Couple of miners moving in with her, and at this point you can kind of tell base is looking like it's smacked. You got a couple of heroes with abilities still left, you got a lot of miners, you got a little bit of cleanup down there on the edge with the Archer, though not as much as you might have liked. But again, late Queen ability usually spells trouble for bases, and in this case it's no exception. This is going to be a 3-star once again. Great job, Shady, and that's going to be a wrap for Arum Draco. We put up 36 on him, and that was the high score for all clans for war number 1. Now, on to war number 2. Not going to put it any kind of sugar-coated way. War number 2 was kind of a cluster for us. We really underperformed, and we should have had 32-30. But we were very fortunate. The other clan did not show up. They did not hit my base. I guess I was just too scary for them. But we should have lost 32-31 if this guy, Ash, would have showed up. So thanks to Ash, we pulled off a victory. But anyway, there are only 2 triples this war. And so I'm going to show them to you, and then we'll clear up this war. And I'll be back in a couple of days with the recap for Wars 3 and 4. So here's Reese. Reese was in a little bit of a slump. He 1-starred the first war, which took away from some of that 36 stars. Could have been 37, but Reese is kind of on the redemptive path here. He's going to use the blimp and a couple of loons here to take out the town hall, as we talked about, right? The battle blimp for the town hall is a great exchange because the town hall obviously has that giga bomb, and it saves your warden for later in the attack strategy if you're using any kind of troop that can't get through there. He's coming in with the new skin on the queen. How nice is that? And he's going to deal with the CC here. Poison spell will come down once the hound gets a little bit lower on health. I'm going to speed it up just a tad just because we have a lot to get through. Minions working the edge. That was a really nice touch because he needed to actually get through it quickly and wanted to make sure the queen would go down. And in case that the hound moves over, as it did, he has something that can actually kill the pups. So we're going to continue to watch the queen continue to walk around the edge. The king is going to come down the other edge. We got a peck at the top. You're starting to see this funnel being crafted, and there's the entry. The miners are going to come in from the top. They're going to move directly into that that inferno tower. And I'd like to pause it here. There's something that's very nice about this base. A lot of bases have these internal channels here where I'm kind of highlighting the walls, and they actually serve as a funnel for you on offense. So if you saw what Reese did there, he's going to funnel, and because of the way he used the miners and how he entered them, the queen is going to walk into this channel and knock out a whole bunch of these defenses. And because of this empty channel, the miners actually only have one pathway, and it's going to be through this main base. It's going to be through the inferno tower, through the eagle artillery, the scatter shot, the back end inferno. And that's a design flaw. It truly is. So we're going to watch the rest of this raid. As I said, he's going to heal and rage and heal and warden ability through this section here. Great warden ability, got a ton of value, and healed things up to full health. He still has 1 heal spell left. The queen is absolutely eviscerating that core section there. Last heal spell goes down. The inferno tower is going to drop to the miners. Queen runs into a bit of a trouble spot and maybe goes down here, but manages to pull through. Actually, she doesn't go down. And you can tell at this point, a lot of miners, 3 heroes still up. Not enough defenses. That's 3 stars. He swagged the ability on the champion as well. So that was a really nice hit by Reese, and another great example of second level funneling. For our final raid today, I'd like to look at the only other person that tripled in War 2, David. David's been on a hot streak. He hasn't missed a triple in any of the 3 wars so far, and I'll show you a little bit of a prelude for War 3 before we sign off for today. So this is a modified internet base. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before, but again, David decides on the bomb. He decides to go for the scatter shot and the inferno tower, trying to get as much value as he can, gets a great value for it, ends up getting an expo too, maybe? No, expo down to a hair of health. No, and he actually gets it. There we go. So we got a whole bunch of value for that blimp, an expo, an inferno, and a scatter shot. He's going to start with the queen, like we talked about. Unfortunately, that battle blimp, or excuse me, not the battle blimp, those blimps get targeted by the baby dragon, and it kind of ruins the funnel a little bit, but not so much. He adjusts by dropping the baby dragon up top, and he's going to need to rage here to get his queen through, most likely. But maybe he decides to kind of test the waters a little bit. Oh, no, he actually used the ability. I do remember watching this raid live and thinking, you need to rage. But he decided to go with the ability, and it wasn't that big a deal because he clearly took care of business. The king drops on the edge, and you're going to see a little bit more funneling up on the top side, and then you're going to see the entry. The queen is going to walk so far around the edge here, and it's a nice touch here too as well, this coconut loon coming in just to see if he can pull any seeking air mines, and that's a big thing here. That's a healer that he just saved by dropping that there. The king uses his ability and continues to walk the edge. The queen is going to run down into this channel and basically knock out a couple of the sweepers, maybe try and get the enemy queen, and you're starting to see the funnel being built. Where are these miners going to come in? Well, I'll leave that up to you guys to guess. Pause it and try to guess here, but at this point, the funnel is made. So there it is. I was a little bit late on saying that, but they're going to come in from the bottom edge here because the king's continuing to make the funnel. That Tesla is actually working as a nice little anchor to pull them further into the base as well. They are going to jump out instead, though, and at this point, even though they are jumping out, the queen is taking out the eagle artillery. They have a bunch of spells left. He's not in any kind of trouble here. The king was a little bit delayed, perhaps. If he was a little bit further ahead, it would have been nicer. But the queen got a ton of value, too, there. Knocked out the eagle and the inferno tower and air defense. She's really pulling through there. We still got a heal and 2 freezes left. We still have a champion ability. This base is looking like it's in serious trouble at this point. Uses that final heal spell to get everything up to full health. He's going to have the freezes for that back end Inferno, and he has the champion ability. This base is absolutely smacked at this point. It's over as long as he uses his spells, doesn't disconnect, yada, yada, yada. Going to speed it up just a tad, as we talked about, and he's going to freeze and ability and just basically power his way through the last couple defenses, and this is a GG from us. So, thanks again for watching. I'll show you a quick overview of how things are going in War 3, because we're absolutely laying down the power here. We have 34 stars on 13 attacks, and 2 of our better guys are still to go, so we might end up pulling off a 40-star war here in Champs 2. We'll see, but at least a minimum of 38 as long as all goes well. So that's going to be all from us today. This is Saber from the Neighborhod. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I'm signing off. Thanks, and have a great